reacting to his stories. He's 1,005,000,000. Jeez. When did he stop making these videos?
A teenager tortured.
Vampires are like 6 months. Jeez. Let's find his popular. Let's stop watching that. Let's start watching.
Me and my family were walking through Times Square when suddenly every billboard had my face plastered across it. I froze in the middle of the sidewalk, staring at my headshot on the billboard next to my weather app invention. The honest app that tells you the weather in a rude way. It's raining, idiot. My family started laughing so hard they were bent over and clutching their stomachs. I can't believe it. Everyone found out about your stupid app and now you're getting publicly clowned. People stopped around me, pointing up, phones out, laughing, and none of us had a clue why my face was really up there. I was so humiliated that I almost went back to New Jersey, but then I saw a giant screen going through the app. The screen showed the
Was that? What is his name?
app saying, "You would know that it's sunny if you just opened your curtains for once." My dad grabbed a police officer on the sidewalk and pointed, "Look, that doofus on the screen is my son. We always told him to stick to college, but he wanted to be a public laughingstock instead." My face went hot, and I wanted to grab my dad's arm, because if he was telling the cops, I knew I'd always be remembered for this, no matter what. But the police officer put his icing-covered fingers into a fist and noogied my head. "It's okay, son. Some of us just weren't meant to make it in life." I turned around to walk into the crowd, ready to disappear and never come back. But when I did, the crowd started circling around me and grabbing me. A girl shoved her phone in my face. Oh my gosh, it's actually him. It's the guy who made the weather app. The giant screen above us flipped to a headline, "#1 app in the country." They were never making fun of me. My app was going viral. The man beside me was laughing, and he showed me the app. "Dude, your app called me an idiot this morning, and it's the realest thing anyone said to me in years."
What the hell? How's he flying?
My dad awkwardly scratched his head. We always knew you could make it, son." I put my hand on his shoulder. "Careful, Dad. Honesty's kind of my thing now." Me and my family were walking through Times Square. I went to a Marriott ballroom for econ extra credit and ended up running from a man in a three-piece suit calling himself Maximus Masters. Noah signed our names on the extra credit sheet and pushed open the doors. Free steak and a grade bump? I'd sit through my own funeral for that. A woman in a navy blazer was on us before the doors swung shut. "Welcome, future entrepreneurs. I'm Crystal." She slapped name tags on our chests that read "Guest of Honor" and steered us to the front row with a hand on each of our backs. "Where's the bar?" Noah asked. After the presentation, Crystal sang and disappeared into the crowd. 60 people sat around us, wearing the same wide smile, staring at an empty stage. Nobody was talking. "I don't see anyone from our class," Noah whispered. "Maybe we're early." "Dude, the room is full." The lights cut out and techno music shook the floor. Two fog machines fired smoke across the stage, and a man in a three-piece suit walked through it with his arms over his head. "Who wants to be financially free?" The room exploded as people shot out of their seats, pumping fists. We didn't move. "Is this extra credit or a hostage situation?" Noah whispered. For 40 minutes, Maximus paced the stage, ranting about yachts and cellular metabolism powder. Slide after slide behind him of him holding stacks of cash. A guy 2 rows back stood up sobbing about how he used to work at Subway. "It's a pyramid scheme," Noah said. I nodded and started to stand, but Crystal materialized behind us. "Leaving? You haven't seen the compensation structure." She pressed down on my shoulder. "Sit." We sat. When it finally ended, she pulled out an iPad and asked which package spoke to us. "We're just here for class credit," I told her. Her smile cracked. "You're scared of success. People like us retire at 30. The whole room turned to watch. Maximus walked over, sweat soaking through his collar, and put a hand on each of our shoulders. "Gentlemen, let me introduce you to the man who changed my life." The fog machines kicked on again. An older man in a white suit stepped through the smoke onto the stage. Noah's hand clamped around my forearm. "Dude, that's our prof." Professor Jacobson smiled at me from the stage. The same wide smile Crystal had. The same smile the Subway guy had. The same smile every single person in that room had been wearing since we sat down. He tapped the microphone twice. "Welcome, gentlemen. Let's talk about your extra credit." We ran. I went to a Marriott ballroom for econ. I was setting up camp alone in a forest when I heard explosions.
I just remember to like and subscribe and sub for his stories. I don't know what's been happening, but my channel's been dying. 7, 11, 15, 6, 16. It used to be up to 22,000. 10, 10, 9, 8. And now it's at 11 times my oldest. See, and that's like 70. That was like, that was 4 years ago.
I was setting up camp alone in a forest when I heard explosions nearby and smoke hit my nostrils. I followed the noise and found a teenager laughing, lighting fireworks into the trees, filming himself on a tripod, live on TikTok. This is going to...
How much views does he have? Probably not even that famous. No. Is that 32,000 people watching? Takes.
This is going to go so viral, but the forest was bone dry, and one spark could burn the whole thing down. Stop! You're gonna start a fire! Relax, bruh. I know what I'm doing. Then he lit another, and the firework arced up, landed in a bush, and flames tore through the leaves. My balls dropped because we had minutes before this forest went up in flames. I stomped at the flames, screaming for the kid to help, but he swung his camera toward the fire, grinning. Yo, this is even better content. I need more fire. The fire climbed a tree behind me, and families came sprinting past, coughing and screaming, dragging their kids from the smoke. I looked back and saw my own tent swallowed in flames, everything I owned gone. I yelled, "Is going viral worth this?" I grabbed his arm to pull him out, but he yanked away. "You don't get it. I have to do this." And he stepped toward the fire for a better shot. The smoke was so thick my eyes burned and every breath became shorter. If I didn't run now, the flames would swallow me too. So I turned to run, but a burning tree cracked and crashed down behind me, and through the flames I saw the kid's arm shoot up, a hospital wristband on his wrist, as he screamed for help. My body screamed at me to run, but my feet wouldn't move. I couldn't let him die, so I turned back and ran into the flames. I grabbed his arm as he cried, a hospital band melting against my palm. I picked him up as I ran away from the fire and I yelled, "Why would you do this?" He lifted his shaking wrist, tears streaming. "My little sister has cancer. They told us if we don't get money for her treatment soon, she'll die." He looked down. "I just don't want her to die. I'm sorry." My throat closed. But before I could respond, firefighters and police charged in. "You've got the little arsonist who did this for views. Criminal. We saw his live," an officer yelled. But the kid just lowered his head as they slapped cuffs on him. Everyone will call him a monster, but I knew the truth. I was setting up camp.
What the hell? Let's choose this one.
I was trying to bicycle kick a soccer ball in my living room when it flew straight into my mom's vase. I dove for it but caught air, and it shattered on the floor. My hands flew to my mouth. That was Grandma's vase, given to Mom before she died, and Mom had told me 100 times not to touch it. Mom was upstairs washing her hair, so I grabbed the super glue and tried to piece it together, but the cracks spread like a spider web, and it fell apart. I knew I was cooked. I wrapped the pieces in paper towels, shoved them in the trash, and put a candle on the empty shelf. I dropped onto the couch with my switch as Mom came down. "You hungry? I'm starting dinner." "Yeah, I'm starving." She walked toward the kitchen but stopped at the shelf, tilting her head. "Where's Grandma's vase?" Sweat shot down my face. "Wasn't it always like that?" She picked up the candle. "It was right here this morning. Maria came today, didn't she?" Maria was our cleaning lady, and Mom was already calling her back. I almost told the truth twice before Maria got there. Maria walked back in, still in her cleaning clothes, and Mom led her to the empty shelf. "My grandma's vase is gone. You're the only other person who was in here." Maria's hands shook. "Ma'am, I swear to God I didn't even go near that shelf." "I'm sorry, Maria. Pack your bags. I can't have someone in my house I can't trust." Maria stood there waiting for someone to say something.
if you
She picked
can't
up her
trust
bag
it,
and walked
just
past
take
me to
it
the door.
away.
She didn't look at me, and I didn't look at her either. The door closed behind her, and the house went quiet. Maria had 3 kids. She'd shown me their school pictures every time she came over. I'm 27 now, and I still haven't told my mom what really happened that night, but I've carried the guilt with me the entire time. I tell myself I was just a kid back then who didn't know better. I was trying to bicycle A bully named George shoved my best friend Ellie off the top of the jungle gym, and she hit the wood chip so hard the whole playground went silent. I ran over and she was crying, holding her wrist funny, and George just stood up there laughing like it was nothing. She was in my spot. The teacher was all the way across the playground, too far to have seen it, and George knew it. He always waited for exactly that moment. I helped Ellie up. Don't worry, I won't let him get away with this. I knew that George was allergic to bees, so while he was still up on the jungle gym bragging to the other kids about how high his spot was, I walked over to the flower bed by the fence and found a big fat bumblebee sitting on a flower. I gently
Because know what's gonna happen. I feel like it's gonna sting
plucked it off the flower and walked back over to the jungle gym. George, I've got something for you. Ellie tilted her head at me. What are you doing? I winked. Just watch. George climbed down and walked right up to me. What is it? I shoved the bee onto his arm and it stung him. He tripped over his own feet trying to get away, landing hard on his backside in front of half the playground. Then he screamed so loud a teacher came running. What happened? George was wailing and pointing at me. He stung me with a bee. The teacher looked at me, obviously confused. You stung him with a bee? I shook my head. I don't have a bee, Mrs. Worley. Ellie spoke up. How would he even do that? George's face started to swell up, so she dropped it and quickly helped him up. Come on, buddy. We have to go get your EpiPen. George stomped away, still sniffling, throwing me one last furious look over his shoulder. I gave him a smug little smile. Don't mess with my friend again. A bully named...
Yeah.
I hit a huge home run and was about to celebrate, but the...
Go for a different one again. But keep going.
A star shot over our backyard telescope, and I grabbed my big sister's pinky. Promise you'll fly me to see the stars one day. She wrapped her pinky around mine. Fake sick tomorrow so we don't have to go to school. And while Mom's at work, we're gonna build a rocket together. I nodded.
Nice.
Okay, sis. The next morning, as soon as Mom left for work, we tore the house apart. I threw cushions into the yard for crash seats. My sis grabbed dryer hose for fuel, and we both carried out armfuls of tinfoil. She cut me a crooked porthole, and I drew a star on the side so we'd know which rocket was ours up in the sky. She taped crepe paper flames across Mom's box fan, and when she hit the switch, the engine roared like real fire. I tapped her. Do you think the stars will melt my sneakers? She went quiet and double knotted my laces instead of answering. At 2:45 p.m., 15 minutes before our mom would be home, we carried our contraption into the square my sister had chalked in the driveway. A garden and a flame ripped out of the engine, and her hands shook the whole time she taped it back. Mom's car turned onto our street, and sis grabbed my helmet strap. Get in! She cranked the engine and dove in next to me, and I counted us down with my teeth rattling. At 0, the flames roared, but the driveway stayed right where it was, and my heart started sinking. Why aren't we flying? My sister handed me a melatonin sleep pill. This is the flying part. Astronauts sleep through takeoff. Close your eyes. Take this. It's magical. I listened to her, and within 5 minutes I was fast asleep in our rocket contraption. In my dream, the rocket came to life, and me and my sis shot through the sky into space with our arms out, and she took me to land on the stars. Somewhere far away, I heard Mom's car door, and a blanket came down soft over the both of us. A star shot over our backyard telescope, and I grabbed my big sister's pink. The defending skate. When I was home,
All of my friends have their own spoon.
the school bully walked around grabbing everyone's money, but when he got to me, I was already holding out a homemade cheeseburger for him. Here you go, King. Enjoy. He grabbed it and examined it with one eye open like he was suspicious, but eventually, he put it in his mouth and swallowed it in 3 bites. I smirked because he had no idea that I'd blended 3 scoops of Mass Gainer into that patty, and I knew that in a few months, he'd be so fat he couldn't even breathe. He crushed the wrapper on my chest. Same time tomorrow, little man. I smiled. Can't wait. By week 2, he stormed over to me, already looking chubbier. From now on, I want a double burger. You're my personal chef now, nerd. So that night in the kitchen, I added 3 extra slices of cheese, 2 extra scoops of Mass Gainer to the patty mixture, and generously buttered both buns. By month 2, he was so large that he couldn't sit down without breaking the cafeteria bench, and he'd brag with his mouth full while his jeans button popped off. I'm gonna run this school till graduation. I thought nothing could go wrong. Then one Friday, he squinted at the bun mid-bite. Why you being so nice, nerd? What's in this? The table went quiet, so I grabbed it and took a giant bite myself. Just some extra cheese. Why do you want me to stop? Eventually, he ate it anyway, and I knew I had him. And on the day before spring break, he stomped into the cafeteria so heavily the floor shook. I sent him off with 6 burgers and hoped his mom didn't own a salad bar. On the first day back, the cafeteria door opened, and the once once mighty school bully was now rolling in on a mobility scooter, wedged between the armrests. Every fork in the room
Why is
froze,
this
and I
so
had to bite
big?
my cheek to keep a straight face. So much for running this school till graduation. He rolled up and stuck out his hand. Chef, give me my burger, now. I took a slow bite of my own burger and shook my head. Nah, King.
Be the
He
rough
raised his
one.
fist, so I leaned in close. What are you gonna do? Eat me? The cafeteria exploded, and even the lunch lady was laughing so hard, tears fell from her eyes. The class bully slammed the scooter into reverse and beeped his way out. I finished my burger in peace. The school bully
Alright, so that's what it looks like, and that's what it looks like now.
tears fell from her eyes. The class bully slammed the scooter into
Alright, so this is gonna be that was the last video. I hope you guys like and subscribe, and like and subscribe, and sub to his story, and please blow this video up.